What's going on, guys? So, title of this video is Let Me Update You on the Countdown. I have no idea how this video is going to go. There is no set schedule as to what I'm going to speak about. But what I am going to do is update you on where we're at. To start off, I'll tell you what day we're actually at, and we are at day 536. That means we have 536 days to go. Now, to give you some perspective, when I made my first video with regards to the Countdown Live, that was 696 days ago. So it's actually been 160 days since. That's quite some time, and it just thinking about it just makes me go, holy shit, does time go quickly. But I'm not disappointed with the progress we've made at 160 days. I'm quite thrilled with it, actually. Now, for those of you who have been finding my channel as of recent, you've been following my social media content, you've come either through watching some of the podcasts which I've been doing. The No Limits podcast has been going amazing recently. 3 huge guests back to back: Oscar Ledlin, Troy Candy, Jerry Sarkis, and that's been blowing up. And so I know there's a lot of recently joined people, and whenever I post about the countdown or I put what day we're on my stories, I always get DMs, people saying, what's this about? What's the countdown? So if you're wondering what the countdown is about, I've actually got a video on my channel called The Countdown Goes Live. I would encourage you to go and pause this video and watch that, then come back, or just make a note to go and watch that afterwards, because it's quite a lengthy video, but it explains in detail what the countdown is, when I started it, what my journey has been like since 17, which was the age which I told my parents what I would achieve by 25. And so since that video already explains that, I'm not going to take much time up in this video talking about what I've done for the past 6 years since 17. And I guess instead I want to talk about, firstly, why I decided to document my journey. For those who have been following me from day one, you would know that I've always been documenting. You can go back to my Instagram and go to the journey, and you see I've been making stories when I was working from my home office. So I've never been one to be embarrassed by where I am in my journey. I am one to be embarrassed, I guess. Naturally, it's not that good or thrilling to have people know that you're not doing amazing, but I think I've always had that confidence that I will eventually make it. So I'm like, it's okay, I'll do these videos now and eventually it'll correct. So you can go back to my Instagram and watch one of my Instagram highlights called The Journey. You can see me transition out of working from my home office to looking for this new office to moving into the office, and I actually need to update that. But I've always been documenting, and prior to documenting my journey on Instagram, I was documenting my journey on Facebook. I documented my journey leading up to starting my tutoring agency at 19. And because I've always been so public, I've always been exposed to ridicule, to judgment, people hating, people asking questions, people discouraging me from doing certain things. And so I had to withstand a lot. I had every opportunity to drop what it is that I'm doing and take the normal route like everyone else. But I didn't. And I'm so grateful that I didn't. And before that, I was documenting on notebooks. And that's what I would say. That's when I would say my whole obsession with documenting began. Because I always had the faith that one day I would make it, I said, you know what, I'll probably want to reflect on these days sometime. And my own personal reflection wasn't enough of a motivation, because when I was going through my tough times, which was for the majority of the past 4 or 5 years, has been down, tough, difficult, struggle time, I did not feel motivated to talk about what it is that I was going through or write about it, because I was too busy dealing with the stress. So I found another reason to do it, and that was because I wanted to give something to my children so that they can read and see what their father went through when he was in his very early stages. And the reason I was inspired to do that is because I always heard stories of parents telling their kids, when I was your age, I had to work so hard, I had to do 15, 16, 18-hour days, I had to struggle, I had no money, I had to invest, people hated on me, people ridiculed me, and I kept on pushing through and kept on pushing through, and then I became successful. When they say that, yes, the kids will understand, but they'll never truly get a clear image of what that struggle was like. And because they'll never get that clear image, they'll never truly appreciate what their parents did or what they currently have, particularly if their parent became very wealthy and successful. So knowing that I plan on being a wealthy and successful parent, I planned ahead. I didn't want my children to fall into that category of kids who know their dad worked hard but not really had a proper understanding. And so I visualized giving them this notebook as a present, maybe on their 16th or 18th birthday, and being like, read this. This is what I was going through when I was your age. I communicated everything. And so when you read that and you go through your own struggles of your own, I want you to know that I went through them as well. And I was able to build what I have right now. And chances are, if they're my child and it's 18 years in the future, they're not going to have the obstacles which I faced. They're going to have not everything set up for them, but they're just not going to have the pains that I had to go through. Pain is something they're never going to understand. Feeling genuine pain that you can't do anything, genuine pain because your parents are lacking financially, and you see them struggle, and you see any issues that arise to be financially related. For one period of growing up, I remember my parents couldn't travel overseas. My dad's entire family, doesn't have a single brother or sister in this country, could not travel overseas because I was unable to get those tickets or pay for those flights and even spend down there or put time aside from work to actually go and do that. And not being able to see his family, that's real pain. My grandfather passed away. My dad hadn't seen him for a couple of years. That was real pain that I had to witness my dad go through. Knowing that, his dad had told him, come and see me, and then, he was unable to, and then he passed away, and he was never going to get that chance again. There's always these moments of pain, and I was like, if I was successful, I could rid my family of this pain. I could stop feeling this pain myself and put those around me to rest so they don't have to feel this anymore. And so that's where the fire began. My kids are never going to experience that. They're never going to know what it feels like. In fact, no one who's ever really went through financial struggles is ever going to know what that feels like. Knowing that I was going to turn 18 and I wasn't going to have a nice car like everyone else, I wasn't going to have anything to inherit put to my name, I wasn't going to have money to be able to start my own businesses and my ventures, nothing to fall back on. It was all risk, all from my own pocket. Knowing all of these things, there's always an element of pain there, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the way that my family raised me. Because it's because of the mindset that my father gave me, because of the love that my mother showed me, that I turned into the person who didn't need any of that shit to end up becoming successful. Not saying that I am right now, but it's inevitable that it will happen at a huge scale. So I really wanted to communicate this, and I wanted to document it. And then I kept on writing, and I kept on doing journey diary logs, and all with the mindset that one day my kids would read this. And so that's where my journey of documentation actually began. So yeah, I was documenting before Gary Vee said it was cool. And then I started documenting online, and then a couple of years ago, I actually July last year, began to properly document on Instagram, and then 160 days ago I made my countdown live, and I've been documenting every day since then, and will continue to document until there is one day left, and I'm one day away from that final countdown, which was a goal I said I would achieve by my 25th birthday. And that pretty much there should give you an idea on why I decide to document and why I've been so consistent, is because I've always known that it would happen. And that's something I really want, that's a real message I want to communicate and try to communicate effectively. At 17, with no financial backing, no one to really look to as a sign of here's what you do to make it happen. I'm moving into university to study full time, not really making much money. You've got a part-time job, and I've told my parents by 25 I'm not only going to rid them of the pain and solve these financial struggles, but my vision was to flip it on its head. So to go from struggle to luxury. And that there is really, really what the countdown is in its essence. Without me needing to describe or explain what the figures are, that's what it was, to go from pain and struggle to luxury. Now, luxury does not just represent material luxuries. It doesn't just represent diamonds and gold chains and nice clothes and nice cars and nice houses. Luxury meant being able to have the luxury to do whatever they wanted. If my parents decided they're done with work, that's okay, I've got you. If they decide, hey, I want to drive this car right now, done. If they decide they want to go overseas, you're sorted, I've got you. If they decide, my mom goes and decides she wants to buy something, I've got that, don't worry. And it's just having the luxury. I want them to have the luxury of the rest of their life to be able to do everything that they want. Because I know for the majority, all of their life, they haven't been able to. And a big part of it was because they decided to sacrifice so much for their kids. Yes, financially, we weren't gifted much, but my dad was at every single karate session, 4 or 5 days a week, every competition, every soccer match, every soccer training session, take me to and from training, sit there and watch me, stayed on top of me, gave me something more than just what money can give to children, gave me a mindset, gave me a confidence. He would tell me that I was going to be successful. He instilled this within me. My mum showed me love, unconditional love. She taught me how to be empathic, how to not do, even if people do bad by you, still have love in your heart. She taught me this. But my father, being raised I inspire to be a great man one day, and I look at him as an example of that, because he made a decision and he stuck by that decision, and that decision was his kids was everything, and investing into his children was the number one priority, and he stayed true to it. It came at the cost of maybe financial hardship, but he definitely stayed true to what it is that he said he was going to do, and that was what he told me so many times growing up, which was, I'm never going to let my child make the same mistakes that I made growing up. So I wanted to give them this luxury. I wanted to provide this for them, and I wanted to do this, and I had no idea how I would pull it off by 25 years old. No idea. If you had asked me at the time, I thought maybe I would do an app and sell it for a couple $1 million. I thought that was the only possible way. I thought by 25 I'd figure how to do that out. No clue. And what I've realized, and what I knew at the time, and it was confirmed to me now, is that how it happens is irrelevant. How it happens is not something you need to know, and it's not even something you will ever know, because that's not how life works. Life is uncertain. There's an element of uncertainty to it, and it's unpredictable. So even if you think you have a good idea of how things are going to go, literally life can come in its way, throw a spanner in the works, and everything goes to shit. So trying to wait until you have a good understanding of what your next steps are is starting on the wrong foot. So I never knew how I was going to do it, but here are two things that I did know. Number one, I knew what it is that I wanted in extreme clarity. I wrote it down. I knew exactly what it is that I wanted to go after. That was how much money I wanted to make, what my lifestyle would look like personally, what my family's lifestyle would look like, what my parents would be doing, the house we would be in, the cars I'd be driving, the cars they would be driving. I wrote down exactly what it is that I'd be doing. And secondly, I knew exactly why I was doing it. And I know we hear this whole know your why stuff being like that motivational stuff being preached, and you can be easily overlooked, but it's true. I knew exactly why I wanted to do it. And those are the only two things that I needed to get started, and it's the only two things that have got me up to where it is that I am right now, which is, without a doubt, the best point of my life that I have ever been at. And things turned around dramatically in a short period. And here's the thing. Just like I knew I would make it by 25, I always knew that I would experience a turning point where I would go from absolute struggle to success in a short period of time, and that's what I banked on. So I never paid attention to current position. I always paid attention to trajectory. Okay? I never paid attention to current position. I always paid attention to trajectory. So I never cared about where I was currently. What I cared about was, in the long run, if my projection, if I was projected to be on an upward trend, right? If my trajectory was upwards. And so it was kind of like this. I actually scribbled this before. This is a graph, and there is a point in this graph where I'm traveling and I'm seeing very, very little results. The trend upwards is very, very little. And then at one point, something occurs called a turning point. And when that turning point occurs, you begin to grow at an exponential rate. So I don't just keep growing gradually like that. The turning point occurs, and then we begin to grow at an exponential rate. Where I am, day 536, is just over here, just past the turning point. Just past the turning point where things have begun to shift and they're starting to come close quickly, and I'm going, holy fuck. Holy shit, this is amazing. This is exactly what I predicted, exactly what I said I was going to happen. What is the next year and a half going to look like? So that's where I'm at right now. And what got me through it was understanding certain ideas, and that was, number one, that I would do whatever it took for as long as it took. So I was willing to be as patient as I needed to be. Even if I missed the countdown, I would eventually succeed. So I was willing to do whatever it took for as long as it took. I was willing to be patient. I was also willing to do whatever it took. That means it is currently 10 p.m., okay, on a Tuesday night, and I'm still in this office working. And tomorrow morning, I will be here early in the morning by 6:30, and I will work until 10 p.m. if needed. So I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm willing to sacrifice trips, sacrifice holidays, sacrifice nice things, because I knew that's what I had to do to achieve what it is that I wanted. And it reminded me so much of an analogy I kept saying to myself and saying to people, which is the bamboo analogy. And that was, you plant a bamboo tree seed in the floor and you water it continuously for 5 years and you see nothing, so you see no results. The moment it pierces through the ground, the moment the seed manages to pierce through the ground, it grows to 3 stories high in a short period. So it's like 3 to 5 weeks, 3 to 5 week period. And You need to continuously water it for 5 years. And that's the same as entrepreneurship. It's the same as life. Working so hard and I'm seeing no results for so many years. But the moment I pierced through, I knew I would grow very, very quickly, and everything I ever wanted would be given to me in a short period of time. That hasn't happened yet, but I know it will. And it's starting to. So, to kind of go back, I always wanted to document. I always wanted to share my journey because I knew that if I established these principles, the success would be inevitable. And that's something I want you to think about. Live your life principle focused. I began writing those notes thinking, I want my kids to know this is what their father went through. And I want them to understand that money and wealth can be inherited because they will inherit money and wealth. However, success cannot. Success cannot be inherited. It's that one thing that can't be inherited, in my opinion, because you can inherit money and you can inherit assets, which people may look at as success. But in my opinion, success is me. I'm the success. Their father was the success. When they've got the nice cars and money in the bank and assets, those are materialistic things that can be pissed away, but the success cannot be inherited. The success can only be developed if they choose to be a successful person. And if they want to be successful, they're going to have to take a look at my journey and understand that they have to go through that as well. So when they're going through struggle, they shouldn't look at it as something out of the ordinary, but a natural thing that means you're on the path to eventually becoming a successful person. And this entire journey has taught me more than just about how to become successful in business. Making money is a result of success, and success comes in many shapes and forms. I became obsessed with, along the journey, things that I never knew I would be obsessed with. One of the things I became obsessed with, which brings me more satisfaction than anything in the world, is how to be a great man to whoever it is that becomes my wife one day. How do I be a great man to her, and how do I be a great man to my children? How do I be a great father? And that all comes back to being a man, being a real man. And although this may be taken out of context and twisted and turned, this is my personal belief. I'm not saying every person should be like this. This is something that matters to me. It's intrinsic. It's something I feel within me. It's not something that was taught to me. It's something I feel within me. One of the things I always wanted to be able to do was to look those people who I am there to take care of and be like, don't worry, I've got this. And although I may be in extreme pain and extreme stress, they're not going to feel any of that. I will handle that burden. I will take that and I will weather it and I will overcome it. That's why there was periods throughout my journey where I had no money, very little money, and I was struggling to get by, and then my family would be in need and I would give them the money. Then I'd figure out how I was going to get it, rather than being like, sorry, I don't have it yet. No, here it is. Now let me go and take the burden of figuring out how I'm going to get that back. And that to me was a quality that I wanted to develop, and that's what this journey has done. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm so grateful for the way business has been going. We've been growing. We've been satisfying our clients, taking on new business. Our monthly revenue has been growing. Being able to now be in a position to grow a team, employ new people. This stuff is all coming. Next is going to be a bigger office. Next is going to be more employees. Next is going to be larger contracts, bigger sites, bigger accounts that we're going to do, bigger companies that we're going to work for. After that is going to be personal success. I'm no longer going to be driving the car, which I can't stand getting into right now in my life. But I know it's absolutely necessary, and there's going to come a time where I'm going to be going to the car of my dreams. I know that the house will come. This stuff is all inevitable because it's all a matter of time. And if you stay true to what it is that you're chasing after, and you do what you need to do every single day, success will be inevitable. And I know that. So I said I'd update you, and hopefully that was a good enough update. It's day 536. I look forward to the next time I jump on here and I update you guys. Thank you.